Major League Baseball has had a profound effect on our lives.
And what about life after, Jackie? You mentioned the 50th anniversary. From that point forward, how have you and Major League Baseball together continued to impact the lives of African Americans, the sport, people that are different?
Breaking Barriers in Sports and Life program was formed, which is now 21 years old, and the program teaches children that barriers or obstacles are a part of life, and that values that help my father be successful on and off the field will also help them to deal with barriers in their lives.
Some of the core values and some of the things that you write about are some of the core values that your father used to get himself over that hump of adversity. Tell us about some of those core values.
Well, courage certainly is associated with my father universally. But then there's determination, the fact that he strived to be excellent in his work and in his life. The fact that he persevered through, as you were saying, the adversity. Integrity is one of my personal favorites, because it's one of the ones that's harder to understand, but kids have to have integrity as they move forward.
So let's talk about a couple of those. Courage and integrity. So we're here this weekend, obviously, to honor your father on Jackie Robinson Day, April 15th, tomorrow, at Dodger Stadium. But today and tomorrow morning, we are showcasing girls playing baseball. And it's an inaugural Trailblazer Girls Baseball Series, which in its own way is overcoming adversity and breaking another barrier. These girls, they need that integrity, they need that courage, because people say things like, you throw like a girl, you play like a girl, you can't play with the boys. As a Trailblazer, what do you think that your father would tell these girls that are trying to overcome their own adversity?
He would tell them probably the same thing I would tell them, that you have to find joy in what you're doing, and if you love playing baseball, then you should let nothing stop you from doing it, and that you should also find joy in the camaraderie of the girls that you're playing with, and be able to take back to situations where you were the only one, and have a greater internal strength, that it's really got to come from inside, a belief in yourself, and that you do belong, even though you hear these voices that are telling you differently. Don't let anybody stop you.
So, do you think that baseball at the time was ready for the color barrier to come down when your father took those steps and made that change? Do you think that the world was ready for that?
No, the world's never ready for change. Big change, especially big change. No. There were some people that said, okay, I have no choice, it's happening, and I'm going to accept it, or I don't have any problem with it. There are always those few people that have no problem with it. But in general, I do not think that baseball was ready. There were many owners that questioned, whether this was the right time. There are some that held out for years before they integrated their own team. So I think that you have to bring them along. You have to force an issue sometimes.
My follow-up to that question would be, do you think that baseball is ready for girls to be integrated into the league, or have a league in their own right?
I think it will take some time for them to come around to this, but if there is enough support high up, if our commissioner says this is the way it's going to be, then the issue once again can get pushed, and girls will be included slowly, gradually, probably starting off with their own league first. But I'd rather see it so they go right on into the majors if they're qualified.
I think it's important to recognize one of the iconic things that you see in every film about your father, and every book about your father, is when he walks into that locker room, he's the same as everybody else in that he is male. He's a baseball player, a darn good one at that. But he's of a different color, and he faced things, like you mentioned, Some players just straight up wouldn't play with him. He wouldn't shower with the other players at first. When these girls go in, they probably won't be in the same locker room, but they share the same field, they share the same bus. A lot of the girls we spoke to today are the only female on all male teams, whether it's Little League, middle school, or high school. What do you think your father would tell them about being different?
I think my dad would tell them that he's very proud of them and that he believes in equality. And this is just another case of equality, or that why shouldn't they be allowed to play Major League Baseball if they are qualified? And so he would tell them to keep, if this is something you're really passionate about, keep working at it and just dedicate yourself to being the best you can be, and so that when the opportunity opens up, you'll be ready.